Pridgeon. I manage the Independence Farmers Market. This is Chef Jen Cavey. She grows produce for the market as well. And a lot of the ingredients that we're using today are locally grown. And if you'll notice, we've got a beautiful presentation, but what this is it's not just pretty. We've gathered all the ingredients we're going to be using today, and that way it makes cooking your meal a lot simpler.
We're having ground beef tacos with salsa. Here we go.
All right?
You ready?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to put this stuff over your side.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to give you a little of the oil.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just gave her the ground beef and the oil. And I'm going to grab a pepper, an onion, and a piece of garlic. The garlic is pretty easy. You can just use the wackadoo.
You'll notice she didn't turn hers to smithereens like I did.
And just peel that. All right. We are going to just slice the end off. Here, let me get this out of the way. Here we go. Slice the end off. Set it to one side. Cut it in half. And we're just going to use half. Well, should we use the whole thing? What do you think? Use the whole thing?
That's a pound of ground beef.
Sure, we'll use
Sure,
the whole thing.
why not?
All right, so we're just going to peel it, even though it's being stubborn. There it goes. All right. And then, here we go. And then you just want to keep your finger. All right, turn it. Go the other way. Okay, one more time. Just come in like this, gently. And see how I'm leaving the back end, it's still attached, it's all one piece still, it's just a big fan. And that way, and then I'm going to go across and make little bits. And then just lay it down, finish this last little bit like that.
All right, I've added about a tablespoon of oil to the pan. We're going to saute some onion.
And we're going to do a half a pepper.
And
go like
some
this.
jalapeno and the garlic before we add the ground beef.
Turn a pepper skin side down so you can cut it easier. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way.
If you're really sensitive to heat, you may want to wear a glove. Peppers do have capsaicin.
Yeah, don't put your fingers in your eyes. It's going to hurt, really. All right, a little bit of that. And then back to the garlic. Let yourself coming in. There you go. And now we're just going to use that to flavor up the beef. All right. And I'll stir that if you want to open up the beef and get that ready to go.
So I just cut it with some scissors. Again, this is ground beef, so you want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. And we're just going to crumble it up for the tacos. So I'm going to start with chunks.
Just take it out of the package, it's easier.
All right.
And use two hands, there you go.
You can tell who's the real chef here.
You're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. You are. Alrighty, so it's got it started. I'm just going to add, about a half a teaspoon of salt. Alright? And then we're just going to let it start cooking and break it up. And while this is happening, Michelle is going to show you, actually Michelle's going to take over. You do this. So, we're going to grind up your own seasonings today. This is cumin and black peppercorns. It's about 2/3 cumin, 1/3 black peppercorn. Now this is my coffee grinder that I use for spices only.
Do not use your mother's grinder that she does her coffee in.
Oh yeah, that might be deaf. That might be deaf. Alright, so I'm just going to make a loud noise.
grinding the spices is, of course, you can buy ground spices at the store, but whole spices, freshly ground, are going to have much better flavor. And so we just wanted you to be able to taste what it tastes like to use freshly ground spices. We've got the ground beef cooking fairly high. We want to just go ahead and get this cooked through.
And I'm just going to take a pinch. There we go. All right. And while that is going on, I will start chopping.
Should I show them what it looks like when I chop instead of what it looks like when you chop?
Uh-huh, sure. So we're going to make a salsa next. We kind of want this fairly small. All right. And I think I'm going to use this this pretty green bowl.
And salsa is just the Mexican word for sauce.
Yep, and I'm not sure what type of tomato you're going to get next year. Any of these tomatoes would work. You can just cut these in half like this.
The advantage to cherry tomatoes, especially if you're eating them in the off-season, is even grocery store cherry tomatoes tend to have pretty good flavor.
Or we can cut up a tomato. Let's make them in 2 stacks. It'll be easier. And then just make little tiny strips. And then turn. And then make little tiny strips again. Look at that. All right? Easy peasy.
The ground beef is getting close to being done. I'm just going to pop open one of these bigger crumbles and take a look inside. It's still just a little bit pink. We're going to cook it a little longer. Tacos is a pretty darn fast meal.
All right. Let's see what we got. I'm going to cut this, keep cutting this off the membrane. And I like these in small pieces. You don't have to cut them as small as me. You can cut them bigger. You can avoid them altogether. You don't actually even have to use them. You can just leave it with tomatoes. You can leave it with just peppers. You can just leave it with onions. But we're going to do all 3 this time. Hold on.
Like to soak your onions in a little bit of water to take off the...
No, what I do is at the end of cutting, here in just a second, as soon as I can get this onion skin off of here. So what I do is after I get done cutting, I put them in a little colander and I rinse them off in cold water. It gets rid of that kind of odd onion taste that precedes a forkful of anything. It cleans up the onion flavor. It makes it sweet, and it makes it a surprise.
Because so much of taste is smell.
It takes, yeah, because when you cut an onion, you get that kind of really oniony gas coming off of it.
Which is mainly sort of sulfur, I think.
Yeah, and then the juices oxidize, and it just smells bad. So what we're going to do is just rinse it off in cold water.
Okay, I do think the ground beef is finally there.
Hey, you want to turn on the cast iron right next to you, babe?
Yes, we need to do the beans first.
Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on a second. All right, they're rinsed. In you go.
So if you're a vegetarian and you don't want to eat ground beef, you can just make a black bean taco. We are just opening up a can of Black Bush's beans.
Because sometimes you just need it easy.
And all the instructions you need for cooking are right there on the can.
I lost the pot.
So, if you want, you can throw them in a small saucepan and heat them up over low heat.
Or we can just nuke them.
We can throw them in the microwave in a microwave-safe bowl for 1 to 2 minutes.
Oh, they'll splatter.
Beans will explode.
Beans explode. There we go. All right, I'm going to finish this. So it's going to need some salt. 2 big pinches.
Am I now heating up my skillet?
Yeah, turn on the skillet.
All right.
And it's going to need.
Do you want it over here?
Yep, sure. I'm just going to just do a little bit more because it just seems like it needs a little bit more lime. All right, so we got salt and we got lime. If it's too salty, add more lime. If it's too sour, add more salt. Seriously, that's it.
All right. The ground beef is finally starting to brown nicely, and I am just going to move it off the heat.
Okay, move it off the heat.
And that way it'll stay warm
That's
while
nice.
we're doing.
Look at how pretty that is. Did you taste that? Does it need more salt? Does
I
it need...
have not tasted it.
Why don't you taste that? Oh yeah, and taste this too, because I don't like tomatoes here. Salt.
I think that needs some salt.
Here, you taste that.
Very good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that needs salt. All right. No salt. There you go. And you know what? I use a
Just
pinch.
this
Yeah.
needs a pinch. The
Okay.
lime is really nice.
All right, add a little salt. There's a, oh, I lost a spoon here. Have another
Yep.
spoon. I say that's good.
All right, I'm just going to stir
Yeah.
this a little bit. So we've turned the skillet on. What we're going to be doing, we're using the corn tortillas.
A little bit of canola oil. Oh, and there's actually a bonus dish when we're done with this. I'll show you how to make tortilla chips real quick.
Okay, so some people prefer flour tortillas. If you are using corn tortillas, you want to make sure you add the oil and fry them. It helps the tortilla stay together better.
All right, here we go.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's good. All right, let's get a serving spoon in there. Or an eyes. There's a serving spoon. I think we're, oh, let me,
Let's see, so I'm checking the beans to see if they got hot
Yep.
in the microwave.
yep, stir the beans.
So the instructions said heat them in the microwave 1 to 2 minutes, stir them a
Sorry.
little bit, make sure they're heated through. Oh yeah, they're nice and steamy. So just a little bit longer. And cooking times might vary depending
Sorry.
on your microwave.
I think I upstaged you.
That's all right.
All right. Oops, sorry about that. And here we go. Just a simple fork. Turn them over. Oh, I forgot to cut the lettuce up. We need the lettuce. We're not sure what kind of color of lettuce you're going to get. Could be any of these. Aren't they beautiful? Look at those colors. It's gorgeous.
Do I need to do anything to your...
I just flipped them. I need to find a knife. Hold on.
Okay, so are you looking for a change in color? How do you know when a tortilla is cooked through enough?
Well, it'll get kind of crispy. See, they're kind of floppy.
All right, so let them
Still.
stay on there
Yeah.
until they're a little bit, okay.
Yeah, and this, I mean, it did golden up here, and you can see it's getting crusty right there, but they're still kind of floppy. We want a little crunch, baby. We want some flavor and crunch. All right, just a moment. We'll quickly do the lettuce. How about that? And again, it's just stack them up. And we want shredded lettuce on our tacos, so we're just going to quickly, see, look. Here you go. Okay, so we'll be able to make a taco.
All right. Our beans are, woo, that was close. Running with knives.
Oh, hot.
Our black beans are nice and hot and heated through.
Why don't you hit them with, you know what, just go ahead and make that whole dish. Why don't you hit it with a tiny bit of seasoning, put the salsa on it, little dollop of salsa right there. Just
All right.
a wee bit, just go ahead.
So the cumin adds a nice flavor to the beans. Again, you can just use salt and pepper if you prefer.
Or I wouldn't salt because the canned stuff comes salted.
And it actually is salty already.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so I wouldn't do that. But I mean, let's make this pretty because it's a pot of beans and it's pretty. And then, you know, because
Why wouldn't you?
why wouldn't ya? We'll just add a bit of shaky cheese, just, you know, right there. All right, and I think these guys are getting close. See? Oh, look. Not as floppy. All right.
All right, the fun thing about tacos is you can do them assembly line right where you've made them, or if you want, you can take everything to the table and put them together.
This gets a little hot for some people's fingers, so be careful. All right? And then, you know, just because you might as well have a little bit at the bottom, we'll take some of this.
And we're using Parmesan because you get a lot of cheese flavor with very little cheese.
Yeah.
You can use a cheddar, a Monterey Jack, pepper
Sure.
jack.
Yeah, absolutely. There,
Right, layer on some of your lettuce.
there. More shaky cheese.
Because
why
wouldn't
not?
ya?
And then,
Some salsa, drain out a little of the extra liquid.
and,
Squeeze a lime just to perk it up.
oh yeah. I mean, just that little bit, it's gonna be awesome. All right. What do you think?
Quick, easy dinner, lots of tasty vegetables.
So beef tacos, we get the bonus round of making tortilla chips, fresh tortilla chips for yourself. Because you have extra oil, we're gonna go back in the same cast iron pan. I'm gonna turn it to a medium-high heat. Make sure we get all that oil. All right. And now, here's the tortillas. We're just gonna cut them in half. Stack them. And let's cut them in thirds. We'll go with quarters. There we go. All right, and now we'll wait for the, let's see, are we hot? We're not hot yet. We're gonna test the oil. Oh look, it sizzled. We can start making chips. Gently put them in. Do not splash them. We can put quite a few in. All right, and then I'm gonna give them a stir. You don't want to put too many in. The oil can come up and over the pan and boil. Also, you don't want them too crowded so it cools the oil. And you don't want them too crowded so they don't stick. Here, they're getting crunchy. You can hear them when I touch them with my tongs. So, once they start browning, oops.
So why do you like cooking with canola oil?
It's a really light oil. It takes a high temperature, so it cooks things well without smoking. You don't want your oils to get to a smoking point. Look at that color. And yeah, so canola oil. Light flavor. And then, so you can do these ahead of time. You can actually reheat them in the oven, so you can have fresh hot ones if you're like doing a party for your friends. And then just a wee bit of salt. And there you go.